Good afternoon, friends. Kind of a gloomy day here in New England, so it's a great time to hop on here and have a chat with you guys and gals about 5G cell networks and the rollout of that as compared to your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi router, making the distinction between those two things. They're not the same. Just as a spoiler alert, the 5G cell networks are much more harmful than your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi router, as the 5G or 5 generation. It's confusing because you think 5G, you think gigahertz, but it's not. 5G is just standing for the latest generation in cell network protocol. Operates at 28 to 39 gigahertz. That's what it transmits at. That's right. So your Wi-Fi router at home, that's most likely transmitting at 5 gigahertz. Compare that to your 5G cell phone, transmitting at 28 to 39 gigahertz. Man, that's a lot of radiation. It's actually at those higher gigahertz, it's approaching the millimeter wave of radiation. That's the same radiation as your microwave oven. Now, the industry will tell you or us that, this radiation is safe. Well, microwave ovens aren't, we use those too in our environment, but you can also get a pretty good burn from a microwave oven. So if you have a 5G phone up to your face all day, don't do that first of all. Always talk on speaker or a headset, earbuds. Mine are around here somewhere. But, always go this route. Don't be holding this. Don't be walking around with it in your pocket all day long. And sleep with your phone, even if you're using 4G, 5G, whatever. Sleep with your phone at least a meter away from you. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Just say like the length of your arm, for example. Or better yet, turn it off at night. People wonder, how can I reduce the effects of radiation around me? Well, turn off your phone at night and turn off your Wi-Fi router. Those would be the two best things you could do, as well as do not keep that thing close to your body, because that's where, you're going to be picking up that radiation. Now, 4G, on the other hand, and I'm going to be using my 4G phone as long as possible, avoiding this 5G cell phone stuff. That operates between 700 and 2500 megahertz, or 2.5 gigahertz on the high end, which is on a dual band Wi-Fi router. You typically have 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So on the higher band, on the higher frequency range of 4G or LTE, long-term evolution is that's what that means with 4G. It's much, much less radiation than 5G. You're talking 2.5 gigahertz for 4G on the high end as compared to 28 to 39 gigahertz for 5G phones, man. Hey, you can have all that, extra speed to check your emails or whatever. I'll stay with my 4G phone as long as I can. It's bad enough that I have to use 5G on my Wi-Fi router at home because of the traffic that is on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency in Wi-Fi, particularly if you live in a populated area. I found that recently over the past 6 months. 2.4 gigahertz on the Wi-Fi router is pretty not reliable. It's just not efficient. It cuts out because of the traffic. If you bring up, look at the Wi-Fi connections in your area, you'll see how populated that band is. And I can imagine this trend just going up and up after 5 gigahertz on the Wi-Fi. Now, what you can do to reduce those effects is wear a headset whenever possible, or talk on speaker. Never talk with the phone, especially if you have a 5G phone. Don't walk around with the phone up to your face. It's a bad deal. You wouldn't walk around all day holding your microwave oven up to your face or sleeping with it on, while it's running, open, with the door open, right? You don't want to do that. Well, to me, that's what seems like what's going on with a 5G phone. But again, that's my interpretation of this science. Again, I'm still using 4G LTE and will as long as possible. Much lower radiation staying with 4G. Now, there's a distinction between, as I mentioned, between the 5G with the very high frequency radiation and the 5 gigahertz on your Wi-Fi router. Okay, so I hope I've made that distinction clear because it's very confusing. You might think 5G stands for gigahertz. It doesn't. It stands for generation. Now, as I was delving into this topic this morning and the past couple of days, I've been reading in the news about ultrasound being used as an alleged bio weapon on foreign diplomats. You can read these news articles. Just go to Google News, and it seems like this is some nefarious application of ultrasound waves to basically destroy tissue. You know, ultrasound is used in medical environments, applications. Many of us have had numerous ultrasounds, very handy tool. So there you see how it can penetrate the skin. Ultrasound being like 20 megahertz, beyond that, which is beyond our hearing range. Lower than that, that's not too far away from, say, 1 megahertz on the AM radio. So that, there's a distinction there as well. What we pick up as far as electromagnetic energy through radio waves on your radio, traveling at 300 million meters per second in a vacuum, the speed of light, 300 million meters per second. That's how fast electromagnetic radio waves travel. Well, as compared to sound waves and ultrasound, that travels much slower. Like, ultrasound is not electromagnetic energy. It's rather mechanical. It's a mechanical application of pressure through a medium such as air or water. Like sound waves through air, that pressure is rippling through the room at about 300 meters per second. So compare that to 300 million meters per second, the speed of light of electromagnetic radio waves, and your cell phone is electromagnetic radio waves, as is that Wi-Fi router. If you're living close to these towers that are rolling out 5G cell networks, that, to me, in my mind, that's the one I would want to stay away from the most. And as far as other tips to protect your environment, that video you see in the card is about experiments using tin foil to block the radiation coming through. But really, if you want the best protection, turn off your phone at night, or at least keep it a meter or so, about an arm's length from your head, from your body at night. Don't sleep with your phone in your bed or on you, for gosh sake. Even during the day, don't walk around with it right against your body all day long. When you're speaking, speak on speaker or use a headset. But don't hold the phone up to your brain. So we've learned a lot today talking about the 5G cell protocol, very high gigahertz as compared to 4G LTE, which many of us, including myself, are still using. And we compared that to 5 gigahertz on the Wi-Fi router, which is different, much lower radiation than the 5G phones. However, it's probably a good idea overall to turn off your Wi-Fi router when you're not using it or at night. I'll admit I don't. I keep mine running all the time. And I know that's not the best idea, but that's just what I'm doing. The 2.4 gigahertz frequency is just too crowded with traffic now. And that trend is just going to continue going up in frequency, right? That's the direction we're heading. And, the long-term effects of this stuff really haven't been researched. Haven't really had enough time to research these effects on the human body, the nervous system primarily, over time. Be safe and use the least amount of electromagnetic radiation in your living environment as you can get away with. And I should really take my own advice. but I'm being honest. The one thing I do is keep that phone away from my head at night when I sleep, about arm's length. The main thing, you don't want to have that. Some people might sleep with their phone up near their pillow to check everything. Worst idea ever. If you have a 5G phone and you're sleeping with it on your pillow, man, that's just asking for trouble in the way I understand this stuff. But I'm looking forward to hearing from you again. And I'm going to sign out now and get ready for a real New England sleet storm that's supposed to change to snow tonight. Stay warm, friends. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, this is the time. My name's Paul. The channel is Something Kind. And we'll see you real soon.